Hello, good afternoon. It's an honor to have you tuned in to Hot Issues on TV3 with me, Nuong Faalong. On November 13, the Finance Minister came before Parliament to present the 2020 budget and policy statement. Since then, the policy document has come under scrutiny from different quarters. Today, we're going to delve into the 2020 budget with Parliament's ranking member on the Finance Committee, Casiel Ato Forson. Good afternoon, Honourable.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us on Hot Issues.
Thank you.
You are in Parliament for the budget reading. What's your general assessment?
Let me say I was disappointed.
What specifically disappointed you?
Disappointed because the ordinary Ghanaian wanted our Minister for Finance and the President, in whose authority the Minister appeared before Parliament, to provide us specific solutions to some of the problems that we face.
Problems
I noticed, yes, he himself admitted to some of the problems, like hardships in the system. One, the fact that taxes are going up, taking money from people's pocket, and above all, some concerns we have with our road infrastructure. Yet, he made a lot of talk, but it's not backed with the numbers. Let me tell you, madam, the truth of every budget statement is that a budget statement is an exercise of bringing out policies that will accumulate revenue and policies in how you will distribute the revenue in a way of expenditure. So oftentimes you look at the talk. The talk does not necessarily mean they are going to distribute it in line with the talk. So I'm mostly interested in where the money is going to go, the appropriations. And that is why Parliament passes what we call the Appropriations Act. The Appropriations Act is a list of all the expenditure lines in the budget statement, of which the minister responsible for finance will use as a guide in spending money. You
mentioned roads.
Yes.
Government is going to pay 80% of the fees to contractors. Isn't that good news?
How are they paying it? You say, what I have to do for me to assess as to whether they are going to pay 80% or not is in the numbers. So for me, I do not accept statements from minister saying that 80%.
Would the minister
if I'm to, oh, he has.
You're saying the minister has misled the whole country?
Speak to road contractors. What they have provided here as road arrest is about 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. Road arrest. Arrest is accumulation of debt owed to contractors, and that is what technical terms we call it road arrest. The road arrest in the budget is 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. The amount of money they owe to road contractors is in excess of 4 billion Ghana cedis.
But it's expected that this is going to be a continuous payment.
No, but he himself, I didn't say that. He said he's going to pay 80%. If you're going to pay 80%, it presupposes the money is sitting there, that he's going to use it to pay. But yet you have, but 80% to begin with, and 80% of 4 billion does not translate to 1.2 billion. So for me, it's not just the talk, it is the action. He himself said this budget is going to be a year of roads. Forget it. It's not supported by the numbers. And I'll take you into the government document. This is not my document, it's the document of the Minister of Finance. And first of all, you can verify. This is the budget statement and economic policy of the government of Ghana for 2020 financial year, on the authority of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, presented to Parliament.
You may go on.
Okay, we know that all of us as a country, we anytime we buy fuel, you buy diesel, petrol, or LPG, a percentage to road fund, and you contribute 40 pesos. 40 pesos per every liter you consume goes to the road fund. The purpose is that since you're a road user, you should contribute for the maintenance of the road. And that is why we pay for. In the year 2020, this budget statement has said taxes on domestic goods and services, of which road fund levy is bringing in 1.659 billion Ghana cedis. I'm not the one saying it. This according to Appendix 3, Government of Ghana. 1.659, approximately 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. So you find out how much of this money that you are contributing, that I'm contributing, is going to go to road fund. Okay, so you can only see that in the expenditure. You take 1.7 billion Ghana cedis from the taxpayer, and you are telling us that you are going to use the money. It's called a year of growth, a year of roads, and you are only giving 1.1 billion Ghana cedis to the road sector. Do you really mean it?
Well, this is the figure he has put forward for now. So we have no
Madam,
idea.
It is not, budget is not bad for now.
Okay.
Budget is not bad for now.
To the end of 2020.
Yes.
But projects are continuous.
The projects are continuous. But you see, if you say it's going to be a year of roads, it shouldn't be just words. Back it with money.
With the figures.
With money. And that is why oftentimes we say stuff, and in the course of the year, we have implementation challenges.
Okay.
You see, we have implementation challenges because we don't back it with resources. It's just all talk. And that is why I said this budget is empty. It's all talk. It's not backed with revenue. It's not backed with resources for us to deliver what we intend to have. This is an administration that in the year 2017 promised us a list of roads. Nothing happened. 2018 promised us a list of roads, 100 of them. Nothing happened. 2019, in fact, I've listed 123 roads in the budget statement. They repeated the same roads in the 2020 budget. Nothing has happened. So why should I expect something to happen?
As far as you're concerned, nothing has happened.
Yes.
So let's look at 2016 when the NDC also said it was a very good year for them. The NDC claimed it focused on infrastructure in 2016.
Right.
The majority also claimed that that infrastructure was mainly ghost infrastructure.
Why? They should
because they wouldn't have to be spending so much on roads now.
They say, and that is the fallacy of the whole matter. Because we know that in as much as we invested so much on roads, there is the need for us to maintain the roads. Okay, so when you put a lovely house and you fail to maintain the house, after all, the house will deteriorate.
In 3 years?
Oh, yes, of course.
Even if the road was of good quality?
You see, if you do surface dressing, an engineer will tell you, do surface dressing. Occasional potholes comes in.
So you're saying the NDC did focus on roads?
Yes, we did.
But those roads need maintenance.
But it doesn't mean we built all those roads only in 2016. Some of the roads were built in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. There are times you have to maintain the roads, and I can tell you. And it is for that reason that in the year 2016, His Excellency President John Mahama, knowing that even though it's an election year, decided to take the bullet and said that, look, we need to increase the levy that is supposed to go to road fund for the purposes of maintaining our roads. And so he decided to increase the road fund levy from 8 pesos to 40 pesos. How many percent increase? Massive. Increase it. So that the revenue that is going to accumulate, he will use the money for the purposes of fixing the roads. So by the time he was leaving, he had set up a structure that is bringing such money for the purposes of fixing the roads. Now, after he left, 2017, the government decided to cap the money that is going to go to road fund. 2018, they capped it. 2019, they capped it. And 2020, they are taking about 700 million from road fund. So far, the amount of money they have taken from Ghana road fund alone is in excess of 2 billion Ghana cedis. Sister, let me tell you, that amount is in excess of what Sino Hydro is bringing into our economy for the purposes of fixing the roads.
The Minister for Communications, Ursula Owusu, yesterday, she was encouraging the GRA to sit down with telecommunication companies and tax profits from mobile money. Is this something you'd support?
See, I've always said that she doesn't understand taxes, and it's not for her.
Why not?
They say, look, taxes, profits are always taxed in this country. We have a robust.
Saying tax more profits.
So you say, if you're a company, and you've registered mobile money, and you are a vendor, and you are a company, it's tax. Your income as profit is taxed already in the system. She has no clue. She has no clue. It's already taxed. If you are an individual and you have to pay income tax, your income is the work that you are doing. So you assess that income, and then you are taxed according to the threshold. And so she should not. I've always advised her, my friend, that she should stay away from taxes because she has no clue, and allow it to the Minister for Finance. She has technical people, tax experts who understand the subject matter. She should not go into areas that she has no knowledge about.
The point is, these companies
are
making profits upwards of 80 million cedis every month.
But they are taxed already. Every company is taxed. Yes, all of them. You see, the truth is that if you are a vendor, before, the mobile the telecommunication companies will apply a tax on you and will allow you to be a vendor. You have to either be a registered company or a registered, self-employed. Okay, trading us. Okay, so it's an enterprise or a company. So enterprise and the companies, even if you are individual, you have to pay income tax. Enterprise and companies company pays corporate income tax.
But these are
enterprise
for the
also pays.
So you're saying it doesn't. It's not prudent to tax the final profit going to the telcos.
No, I haven't said that. What I've said is that what they are talking about, that the individuals, their income is taxed, and the final profit that goes to the telcos, it feeds into the telcos their profit, and it's also taxed.
So it fits into their total profit.
Yes, it fits into the total profit. And let me do an illustration.
You're saying the minister does not know this?
She doesn't know this. So if she knows about this, she wouldn't have made that kind of comments. And that is why I'm saying that she should not go to areas that she doesn't know about. I make 100 Ghana cedis. This 100 Ghana cedis, that is profit, probably is shared between the vendor. Okay, so the vendor get 50, and then the MTN, let's say, get 50.
Right.
This 50 feed into the MTN profit of, let's say, 1,000.
The end of
so they get 1,050. This is taxed. This is a company. It's also taxed. So what is he talking about? So she's, saying things that probably she has no idea. Unless what I heard earlier on, and then I've made this statement, is that government intends to tax mobile money operations. It doesn't mean taxing profit
she actually
of the
doesn't
vendors.
agree with mobile money operations being taxed.
Yes, so
doesn't agree with the consumer bearing
exactly. Tax. So if she doesn't agree to it, the profit for the vendors and the profit for the telcos are already taxed. So she should keep quiet about it.
About a month ago, you took her on concerning the CST.
Yes.
She did explain that she wanted you to proceed to court if you found anything wrong. Should we expect further action from you?
Two things. She gave directive to the telcos to actually instructing them on how the CST be applied. And I said, that is not your responsibility. The Revenue Administration Act is specific. It says that matters relating to revenue, and revenue is the lifeblood of a country. You won't allow any sector minister with little knowledge on the issue of any technical matter to be instructing on revenue issues. It can have negative impact on revenue. Even if it has positive impact on revenue, that positive impact may distort economic activities. And so those issues of revenue should be left with Ghana Revenue Authority. And this is according to law. And if you check Section 1 of the Revenue Administration Act, A and B, is there, black and white. And that is why we started with Section 1. And by the way, I sponsored that bill through Parliament, and I debated it, and I remember it as if I'm debating it today. And that is why I spoke to her, asked her that please don't go to that area. Don't go to that area. Unfortunately, she won't understand. But what happens is that after sitting with the GRA, the telcos, they said that GRA is still going to charge the, telcos on upfront, based on upfront payment. But going forward, telcos are not going to deduct upfront. Whatever it is, the value is the same. You are still going to be, the incidence is on the consumer. It is not on the company. The value is the same.
Honorable, let's move on to Kelni GVG. Government says Kelni GVG has provided the state with some 2.2 billion cedi revenue.
2.2 billion?
Yes.
It's a lie.
Do you support this policy?
It is a lie. My sister, let me tell you something. And 2019 budget statement on revenue. Okay, I have the 2020 budget statement here.
Sure.
Madam, taxes on domestic goods and services, communication service tax, for the whole 2020, this is for next year, it's not even this year. Next year is after they have increased it by 50%. The entire revenue that is going to come is 436 million. The entire revenue, 436 million. 436 million. And she's saying it's brought what, 2.6 billion? How many times that?
But are you impressed by the figures?
You see, this is after 50% increase in the tax. 50% increase in the tax. So what is she talking about? And I'll try and get you the numbers on how much we've had so far on CST, dating back 2019. So, 2019, the budget projected that communication service tax is going to be 423 million Ghana cedis. After revising the budget, they said it will be 524 million Ghana cedis. In fact, from January, first quarter to third quarter, so from January to September 2019, the actual amount, this is the program, they had programmed to have communications service tax 435, but what they have received here is provisional, is 291 million Ghana cedis. 291 million cedis from January to September. And he's saying that they have provided, Kearney GVG has provided 2.something billion. Please, they should say that to people that don't understand. It's not the truth.
So you think the policy has not brought in enough revenue? The policy,
which policy? On the Kearney GVG, it hasn't. We met with the Finance Committee of Parliament, met with the Ghana Revenue Authority, the GRA. And this is what they presented to Parliament on November 7, 2016. If you have CST as a tax item, it confirms with these numbers.
Right.
Okay, so what is he talking about? Okay, I'm a tax practitioner and I know what I'm talking about. She should not go into areas that basically she has little knowledge on. She may have a comfort zone as a lawyer. I respect that. But please, Kearney GVG has not brought 2.something billion Ghana cedis to the people of Ghana. In fact, the state Ghana has paid Kearney GVG to date $70 million, equivalent to 300 and something million Ghana cedis. So the entire revenue that we are getting here is going to Kearney GVG. That's what it is.
Honorable,
sadly.
Honorable, your fellow members of Parliament, of the minority caucus, when the budget was being read, you termed it a bye-bye budget. Does this mean you're not impressed by the contents of the budget?
It's not an impressive budget, and we know that the people of Ghana is going to vote against them, and they are not going to come back, because a bad budget deserves an exit. I'm a member of Parliament, and I'm privileged enough to interact with people. The good people of Ghana are so disappointed in this administration. The people that I know, them to be MPP, are so disappointed in the management of by President Akufo-Addo, the management and the handling of this country. And they think that, look, that is not the way to go. People think that the country deserves a change. So someone told me this morning, we are going to vote to change the change that we brought.
What happens if they disappoint you?
I do not think that they will disappoint us. And just like His Excellency the President himself said, when he recently visited Volta region, that God brought MPP so that we'll see the good work of the NDC. He put it that way, to paraphrase.
The Minister of Finance
we can appreciate the NDC.
Yes, he said the NPP had put 12.2 billion Ghana cedis into the pockets of Ghanaians.
I laugh at Interflag Staff House. And why am I laughing?
Right.
If you just sit down and say that, one, you have provided, BEC subsidy. And so you've put in money in people's pocket. We started paying BEC subsidy. I was privileged to be at the Ministry of Finance. We were paying BEC subsidy over the years. We did not put money in people's pocket. Is that what he's telling me?
Yeah, look, the accounting tax relief, financial relief.
We were giving people fertilizers. Okay, fertilizers. And he's counting it as, in his budget, he said about 880 billion people. 880 billion people. How many Ghanaians we have? We have 30 billion. 30 million. And he said 880 billion people have benefited from planting for food and jobs.
I think 880 million farmers.
Yes.
That was the figure.
No, 880,000 million. It means 880 billion.
I think they may have been a genuine mistake. How many people
but have they come to confirm whether it's a mistake? Have they said that? I don't know. They have said it because the matter we've been discussing is
it's a simple matter of reasoning it out. How many Ghanaians do we have in this country?
Yes, but you see, it shows a government that is in a hurry to cook numbers, and they overcook, and Ghanaians have found out. This time they have overcooked the numbers.
You're still watching Hot Issues on TV3. We're speaking with a ranking member of Parliament's Finance Committee, Casiel Ato Forson. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, Hot Issues continues. Welcome back. You're still watching Hot Issues on TV3. I am Nuong Faalong. We are still speaking with Ranking Member of Parliament's Finance Committee, Casiel Ato Forson. Let's look at total revenue and grants in the budget. The Finance Minister did mention in the first half of 2019, total revenue reached 22.7 billion. We all know that was below the projected target. That's all. The projected target was 26.9 billion, 15% shortfall.
I've always cautioned our Vice President that, look, policy formulation is not a spur of the moment populist policy that you come out and just announce. You have to properly sit down and do some work. Policy formulation is not a comic
So you
relief.
did not agree with the reduction of the
benchmark
values?
It is not about me agreeing or disagreeing. It is about the pronouncement that he made that it is not going to become, it's going to increase revenue, it's not going to reduce revenue, and import volumes are going to increase. Import volumes are coming down, and then what is happening, revenue is also going down. 2.3 billion. What they have said is that by end year, it is going to be 3 billion Ghana cedis losses. Everything is in disarray. The revenue handles are not doing well. And you know what that policy has done? I don't know if you've spoken with AGI.
I do speak with AGI quite often.
And AGI is
They are worried about the effect it has on industries.
In fact, negative effect. Negative
on
effect on industries. Yeah. And that negative effect on industry will mean that they may not be making profit enough as they were making before. As a result, they are not paying much taxes on corporate income tax. That negative effect that they are making is that they will downsize their employment. And if they downsize, that household is not getting money. So it's creating some hardships in certain homes. And that is also implying that because they are downsizing, they are not paying those workers' salaries, of which they would have deduct personal PAYE, pay as you earn taxes, of which they will pay to the GRA. So revenue is also coming down in that area. What it means also is that you are making imports cheaper at the expense of your of your industries. You think this is a policy that a vice president should announce, and he call himself an economic guru, and so we should all clap for him. He didn't do that kind of analysis.
So far, you haven't praised anything in the budget.
There's nothing there for me to praise.
Let me give you something that might be interesting to you. There was no introduction of new taxes in the 2020 budget. Isn't that something to congratulate government?
Madam, it's a hoax.
How is it a hoax?
It's a hoax.
The finance minister said
let me tell you something.
Introduction of zero taxes.
Okay, let me tell you something why it's a hoax. We were in this country when the MPP, as part of their manifesto. And again, to premise that, our vice president, the one then in opposition, our running mate, is the one who actually launched the highlight of this fiscal sector, the economy. And he said that Ghana is moving from taxation to production. Along that lines, what they did was, one, they said they are going to remove the special import levy, reduce the corporate income tax from 25% to 20%. And they are going to remove the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy when they come to office. This is their last budget for their administration, completely.
Last budget before the 2020 elections.
Yes, that's another mandate. So it's a different, I'm not talking about this mandate. That's another manifesto. So this manifesto, this is their last budget. Did you ever hear them talk about national corporate income tax going to be reduced? No. They did not even apologize to the people of Ghana. As arrogant as always, they ignored it. Nothing. You know, the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy and the Special Import Levy, all of them were supposed to expire in December 2017. So just about 12 months before they take office. After they took office, it should have expired. This is a government that has promised us that they are going to remove these taxes, the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy and the Special Import Levy. Instead of them removing it when they came to office, they decided to allow it to run. Only for them to bring the 2018 budget and said, we are going to extend the National Fiscal Stabilization Levy and the Special Import Levy for 2 more years. They extended it, brought a bill to Parliament, reimposed that tax that they had promised the people of Ghana that they are going to actually remove for 2 years till end 2019. So I would have thought that the 2020 budget That starts from January 2020, would have come into effect without the special import levy and the national fiscal stabilization levy. My sister, your guess is as good as mine.
So you believe this is missing? This should
You know what is done? No. In the budget statement, the Minister of Finance is telling us that he's going to reimpose the national fiscal stabilization levy and the special import levy for 5 more years. Someone who said he's going to remove it, now he's extended it for 7 years. 2 plus 5. It's going to stay till 2024. And the same person who said who's going to bring a bill to Parliament that will reintroduce a tax, he's telling us that there's no tax, new tax, so we should clap for him.
What would the NDC have done differently?
Impressive. NDC will be truthful to the people of Ghana. The National Democratic Congress, that of which I'm part and proud member of, I can tell you that we would have kept faith with the people of Ghana. We will stand by our words if we had said that we are going to remove the national fiscal stabilization levy and then the what you call the special import levy. It is for that reason that when we imposed the national fiscal stabilization levy and the special import levy, we decided to introduce a sunset clause in the bill. And in fact, passed by Parliament, it became an act of Parliament that the bill, that law expires by itself by December 2017. It is for that reason. So we showed faith with the people of Ghana. Only for the people that promised me, you and I, that that tax is going to expire or they are going to remove it, to come and then extend it for how many years? 5 good years. That cannot be that there's no new tax in this budget. There's a new tax.
The majority leader has said that minority members of Parliament speak before thinking. Do you think the minority in Parliament speaks before thinking?
You know, I was surprised when I read a statement from him, but come to think about it, I'm not shocked because it's his language. He's one person who always insults us. And it shows the kind of arrogance that our friends, the MPP, exhibit oftentimes. Anytime you say something and they know they'll have no answer, they resort to insult and insult you. We will not waver.
You're saying what he's saying is not true?
No. What you see, he failed to address the issue, only to say we failed to think. We posed certain questions. We were expecting Parliament and government to come and say this, that, and that. But instead of them doing that, oh, don't mind them. They don't think before they speak.
Speaking of which, you have held several press conferences
Yes.
as opposition.
Yes.
Most of which the party NPP has not responded to. How does it feel to be the opposition in government and to be often disregarded?
You see, for me, NPP has been responding to a number of press conferences, isn't it? Why is it that the particular ones that we actually bring out, they fail to respond? Something is hitting them.
You think they're hiding something?
They are. Because, look, for once, the fiscal deficit for 2016 that they keep saying is 9.3. In this budget, they have now come to correct it that it is 6.5 after I've taken them on. Quietly, look, in this budget, they've come to admit that, oh, now it's 6.5. I can assure you, I will not relent in the work that I do. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not doing it just for NDC. I'm doing it for Mother Ghana. Period.
Thank you very much, Honorable. It's good having you on Hot Issues.
Good to see you. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Honorable Casiel Ato Forson. He's made a promise he will not relent on the work that he is doing. He believes he's doing it not for himself, but for Mother Ghana. Join us again next week, same time on TV3. Good afternoon.